What's up, everybody, and welcome in to today's DLLS Cowboys podcast. It is good to be with you guys. It's good to see everybody. That is a nice little Super Bowl Sunday last night. We do have a Diehard special going on right now, 60% off your Diehard membership, and you get a free T-shirt when you get signed up. So now's a good time to take advantage of that. Okay. Yeah, we did there on the thumbnail or on the picture or on the thingy thing. He told you George Pickens is going to be franchise. See that? Incoming. That's a franchise tag that's incoming for George Pickens. And we'll get into that here in just a few minutes. But first, we did all, I would imagine, take in the football game last night. Oh, hello. My name is Jeff. And I'm next to, yep, that's me. And I'm next to former Cowboys wide receiver Jesse. That's me. That's still me.
Oh, John is sick, but he's on one.
77 yards. It must be a reality show.
Yeah, and he's next to me, and also next to the greatest beat writer in the history of the Cowboys, Mr. Clarence Hill.
What a win would pop up.
That's facts. And I saw where they took in the game, and I was incredibly jealous as I was in my 1,600 square foot house watching the Super Bowl, and it looked like you guys watched it wherever in Dallas has a house as big as the White House, and so that's nice. Hope you guys had a good time. Did we learn any lessons from that game that we believe we can apply to the Dallas Cowboys?
I want to say that I did not include you. It was in Red Oak. You know how far that's from your house?
Oh, I wasn't mad at you or anything.
Okay.
You clearly have a guilty conscience that you're going out of your way to mention that you didn't invite
Well,
me.
Anyway, we talked about it last night. I was like, Jess, let's tote this defense. Let's tote this defense. I was like, tote them 3 different tackles. Seattle has 3 great defensive tackles. But also have pass rush, that defense. Let's tote defense. Nico was right. How about let's tote Nico? Defense wins championship. Nico was right. Defense wins. Where you going? We still distance ourselves from Nico. He's gone. Cavanaugh. Cavanaugh.
Okay.
Those words should be never uttered in any space that is require competent ability to do things. Those words should be never uttered. Nico was right. Ever.
No.
We like to have fun here. See, people don't get at least my humor sometimes, especially on social media. We have fun. It's fun. It's humorous.
Yeah. See, now what we're not going to do is ever say Nico is right. And we do want to be good at defense, but obviously defense on its own doesn't win a championship. It sure does help having Jackson Smith and Jigba. And I don't want to be too hard on the Patriots today because of producer John. He's the hardest working producer in sports. He's the best producer I've ever worked with in my life. And his team took an L last night, and it's tough for him. So what I don't want to do is mention.
And John took an L.
What I don't want to do is mention. There's John. And John's jammed up too.
John
so
took an L.
I just want to give credit to Seattle and not necessarily mention that the MVP voting was pretty well confirmed in that game. That wasn't the MVP of the league quarterback in the Patriots. That's all I'm saying.
Wow.
MVP voters got it right. Somebody said I like Angry John.
And here's one of the biggest takeaways that I got out of that game. If I'm trying to circle it back to make it Cowboys centric, and one of the areas that we are, we are now at a place where we're kind of lucky, blessed, however you want to put it. Boy, Dak Prescott would go up against any one of those teams with a defense like that, and he boat races them, like from the quarterback position. Like there is a really good quarterback that the Cowboys have here, and if they don't do anything else, we've talked about it on this show before. The New England Patriots was number 1 in spending in contract monies in the league, followed by the Seahawks were number 4. And so these are 2 teams who are playing in the final game of the season who you saw put resources into those things that that they need. And I think if there is no other calling card or no other Batman signal that goes out to the Jones family, it's spend a little money, honey, and you might find yourself in LA as not just a visitor on your private jet, but as a participant in that game. If you just go and commit yourself to real assets that'll allow your quarterback to have one of those type of defenses where they can go out there. And one of the things that we talked about in this show before as well, sometimes you just need your defense to hold up while you figure it out offensively, right? Just don't, and that's what their defense was able to do. Is like Sam Darnold wasn't great. He wasn't a world beater, but the defense was good enough to just hold him off to where field goals mattered. And then when they finally found the rhythm to go and get a touchdown, it was it. But that's the one thing that I want. And Jerry and company, there were over 600 jets, private planes that had landed in the airport in San Francisco, right? And one of them happened to be the jet of Jerry Jones. I hoped if he took nothing back on his carry-on into that private jet that went wherever it went, that it was, we really, really, really must spend some money, honey, in this offseason. Don't spend the money for that, honey, but spend the money for some football, honey. You feel what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? You see where I'm going with that one? Don't spend the money on that, honey. Spend the money on the football, honey, and really put together a defensive roster that's going to give you a chance to be more than just a visitor in LA next year.
That's how you got the Bravo Eugenia, right?
So anyway, I gotta figure how to tie in, because like my takeaway from that game, or I guess like the roster construction of the team that won the Super Bowl, is like it's only a half of this hand, Jesse. It's only a half of this hand. Okay.
So you right here, you 3-point stance.
Yeah. It's a little bit of this hand, because I do think, especially when you have glaring holes, you gotta get real, proven commodities in there to fill those jobs. But I think, like, I look at Seattle's defense, which is one of the best in football, and what won them that game mostly. And when I go man for man, they got a couple of dudes. Like, they got a solid defensive line. Their linebacker group last night was one guy that's undrafted, kind of came out of nowhere, and another guy that's kind of been okay his whole career. Safety is a 4th-round pick and an undrafted guy. Devin Witherspoon's awesome. Nick Emenwari's really good. Tank's good. Leonard Williams is good. Like, they got good players. But the accumulation of those good players turns into great defense. And so I do think it's important, obviously, to have good enough talent to be able to go out there and compete. But they're also, like, they're not super exotic. The blitzes.
But see, here's the thing.
They're just all doing their job, and they're clearly really well coached. Because I think if you have good enough talent that knows exactly what they're doing and can play fast, that's, I think, what I see from that Seattle defense. I don't think they're the most talented in the league, but they are clearly very well coached, and they do their job. And so if you're a Cowboy fan, I think, to me, that's kind of a positive. You don't need to add 5 Pro Bowlers. You just have to have guys who are good enough, and you've got to add some, no doubt, good players. But your faith can get put into, I think they're going to be so much better coached that you can put it together.
They don't.
Go ahead, Clarence.
I'm sorry. They don't have 5 Pro Bowlers, but they got up echelon talent. I mean, they got 1st-round picks in that secondary. They got 1st-round picks on that defensive line. They got difference-making players, and you could talk about the linebackers may not be, the world beaters, but they got a lot of talent. And the Cowboys need an influx of a lot of talent. to go with the coaching. They need a lot of talent.
No, I don't disagree that they need that. I just think that what I saw was a team that is not man for man the best defense in football. Like Tank ain't Myles Garrett. Leonard Williams is good, but insert best detail. Like Leonard Williams ain't better than Quinnen Williams. Witherspoon's better than anybody you got at corner for sure. But it's not that it's overwhelming talent. They're plenty good, and they're good enough. They have good talent, and good talent turned into a great defense. And that's just what I saw from Seattle's defense.
When you have good talent, and you can say it's good to low level of great in some areas, what that now allows the coaching to be is at its best. When you don't have the gaping and glaring holes, that's when good coaches really are able to schematically. I'm not talking about developing. I'm talking about schematically. That's when I can have blitzes that are timely blitzes because I have a person like Witherspoon who is great at timing up those blitzes, right? That is very instinctive of how to get to the quarterback and how to create pressure. And yes, do you have all pro talent across the line? No. But what I got is I got a bunch of B to B plus level players that all play together, that all are have the mentality to want to be great. And so what ends up happening is when you start playing the percentages, when you start saying, all right, we got 65 snaps in this game, how good can my B plus players be? Right. And now I don't have a huge drop off when I go to the next guy, because I might start with a B plus, but his backup might be a B minus. Right. And so I'm not losing much. And that's the difference between the really good teams who are able to compete consistently throughout a season and then you having a player or two, because you're right. They don't have a Myles Garrett on that team. Right. But what happens is you have a Myles Garrett and he's absolutely phenomenal. But then you have gaping areas in other places that you can't cover up for, and that Myles, through the course of a game, can't cover up those gaps. He can't cover up those holes. He does a hell of a job, but he don't have enough to cover every area through the course of a 60 to 65 play game where a team can make a play on you in crucial times. And so that's what that Seattle team was able to do. And then the defensive coordinator, he's able to take his genius and his specialty and Mike McDaniels and go, I'm now about to take it to the next level. That's what coaching does. That's what teaching does, is I take the talent that you've given me and I give it a boost. Now, if that boost is from a C to a C plus, a B to a B plus, that's different than when you're dealing with D-level talent trying to get it raised up and you're facing A-level offenses, B-plus level offenses, A-plus level offenses. You don't have enough that's going to be able to sustain you throughout the course of time. So that's why you have to pay the money. Yeah, you don't have to go out there and get 5-10 Pro Bowlers, but I need to go out there and get more than enough able bodies that I can put out there and not have the glaring and gaping holes that we're always trying to patch up, like the cartoons where the boat has all these holes in it. And now I'm putting the thumb up here trying to keep this water from gushing out. I got a toe down here. I got the other arm under here. It's just too many holes in the boat for you to be able to plug them all up for us not to sink.
Can I say something a little messy?
Oh, put my mic down.
Can I say something just a little messy about this Super Bowl?
More money?
Maybe I'll just make it about the Cowboys. Oh, I wish they hadn't torpedoed their season right before it started. Because when I tell you, neither one of those teams terrified me, and they weren't scared of each other. They were both real happy to go play, punt. If I can get a field goal, that'd be cool. Like, them teams weren't even scared of each other. They were just out there like, hey, you're not going to score, but I might. Three.
No going for it on fourth down. No analytics. None of that. We'll punt it. We'll kick the field goal. We'll take our chances.
Yeah, they're just like, and in that game, if I'm Seattle, I agree. Like, every time they got the ball, they're like, we could probably get 3, and y'all not going to score. So, like, what are we like? We don't have to risk anything here. We don't have to. And Darnold still did early in that game. I'm like, God, even his 5-yard passes are looking ballsy. That's just a wonky game. That's all. Cowboys should have won the Super Bowl. We just accidentally torpedoed the season right before it started. So we'll just win the next one. Coming up next on the DLS Cowboys podcast. Yeah, word is out on the street now about what's happening with George Pickens, and we'll dig through all of that next. Let's take a moment, talk about our friends over there at Mars Men. If you are like me, I'm a 41-year-old male, and there was a point somewhere in my 30s. For me, it's probably my early 30s. We start noticing the energy levels are dropping. I became a napper. The same physical things that I would do became harder. Our friends at Mars Men are here to help you with those sorts of things. You're looking for stronger physical performance and some recovery in the gym. You're looking for more consistent and natural energy. How about that? Support your healthy T levels, your energy, your stamina with our friends at Mars Men. What they have is 8 natural, clinically dosed ingredients that are made in the USA, third-party tested, a 90-day money-back guarantee. You want to get the most out of your testosterone levels. Our friends at Mars Men got you covered. For a limited time, our listeners can also get 50% off for life, plus free shipping and 3 free gifts at mengotomars.com. Perfect way to kick off the new year strong. Mengotomars.com for 50% off and 3 free gifts. When you do it, they're going to say, hey, where'd you hear about them? Support our show. Tell them that we sent you. Also want to shout out our friends at Wild Fork Foods. I told you it's my favorite store in the DFW Metroplex, and they'll get you squared away for Valentine's Day. You want to have the perfect protein pairings? Well, guess what? They got some bundles going on. Go get a North Atlantic lobster tail and filet mignon. Go get the Argentine shrimp and a New York strip. They're comboing things up for you over there at Wild Fork Foods, which is the best store in the Metroplex. Do not go to the grocery store for your meats. Go to Wild Fork Foods Meat and Seafood Market. You do it once and you will become a regular. I promise you. They have a great selection. They have a wonderful staff. I love all my people over there. 9 different DFW locations. Frozen is fresher at Wild Fork Foods Meat and Seafood Market. Their organic grass-fed ground beef, 85% lean, is $6 per pound. That's about the best I've seen. Try them out at one of their 9 area DFW locations and learn more at wildforkfoods.com. All right, it's the DLS Cowboys podcast. Adam Schefter said the Cowboys expected to franchise tag wide receiver George Pickens, and the tag's going to cost this team about $28 million on the cap. That tag window opens up just over a week from now. And yeah, Ian Rappaport, I did say, Brandon Cisse, South Carolina, nice cornerback prospect. Rap sheet, I did say that tag and trade is possible, or that the Cowboys are open to the idea of tag and trade. So I just want to start off with this. No, I don't want to start off messy. I want to start off by asking this to Clarence as the big J journalist on this panel. Do you think that comes from knowing that, like, somebody's actually saying, like, oh, yeah, but we know we might have to trade him, we might tag and trade him? Or is that just a journalist covering all potential bases because why not?
That's just him throwing stuff out there on Super Bowl Sunday for shock effect. Let's be honest about this. He followed up his tweet when he said that on the show. The Cowboys have shown a willingness to trade their stars for significant draft compensation. George Pickens' situation will be fascinating to watch, as he'll have no shortage of suitors. So he's trying to connect the dot between their willingness to trade Micah Parsons after things fell apart because Jerry got his butt hurt, to now George Pickens. They have shown a willingness to trade the stars. When have they done that? Herschel Walker, Micah Parsons. Herschel Walker, Micah Parsons. That's it. That's the freaking list where you trade a star for a bunch of draft picks. That's the willingness. So where are we connecting this dot? But we have to have something to talk about.
Okay, can I just, obliterate that opinion or thought process just real fast? And then, Jesse, you can be as messy as you want. This is me to Ian Rappaport. Using what they did with Micah Parsons as an idea that they might do something like that again is really, I don't know how to say it, but dumb. Like, that trade didn't help them. I know Jerry, right after they made it, tried to spin it and that they could be better this year. He knew they wouldn't be. If you do that again, what you're doing again is building for the future when you want to win now. And so I guess, sure, there's a world where they decide what's best for their team is, man, we're really overwhelming at wide receiver. And our offense, we got a lot of resources in it. And maybe we could get this thing put together better a different way if we reallocated some resources to defense. You could sell me on that. But the idea that it's clear that they're open to trading their star players, trading your star players makes you worse. They want to win the Super Bowl. So even if they did end up tagging and trading George Pickens, it better bring back a player. It better not be something that intentionally makes your team worse. If you're doing it for draft picks, I guess maybe you could really square up a pitch and hit a home run on that and draft a defensive starter who's an average to above average NFL player out of the gate. That's not better than having George Pickens. If you're trading it for picks again, what you're doing is saying, man, we really hope we're good in 3 years. And that's not the world the Cowboys are in right now. They had a one-off because a guy got mad at a guy. It wasn't that we can't afford this. It wasn't anything other than the way that transpired and the mistake Micah made by engaging Jerry. And now Jerry thinks we got something cooking here. And then when he doesn't, Jerry got mad. Like, that wasn't, we're doing this because it's going to make us better this year. And trading George Pickens in this offseason doesn't make you better next year, unless maybe like it's a Pickens for Crosby, and then whatever picks makes that work, right? Like if you're bringing in a player that's a stud player for your stud player, that's a winning window move, or it can be. If it were another 4 draft picks, no, the fact they traded Micah doesn't prove that they're willing to do that. The fact that they traded Micah is just the fact that they traded Micah. They want to win with Dak Prescott. Trading George Pickens for picks that might be good later for cheap is not trying to win at football this year, which I think they're trying to do. They're here to win.
And so that was going to be my question to you. Are they trying to win now? And I know that Jerry comes out and he says it all the time, but Jerry says a lot of stuff that's not necessarily true or that he stands by 10 toes down. Are they trying to win right now? Or are they trying to prepare this thing, I don't know, for maybe when I get it. Now this year the league was up for grabs, right? Yeah. No one knows. We've yet to been able to pinpoint what the Cowboys' timeline is and how they want to do this. Because to your point, Jeff, if you were trying to win now, you don't get butthurt and trade away the second best pass rusher in all of football. You just don't. You just don't trade that level of player away. But in the accident of your feelings getting involved, it broke the seal of, you know what? We did that. And we're not afraid to do it if we have to again. And it doesn't necessarily have to be that they got butthurt about something, but we did it. And Jerry will sit, because what we deem is rational in our minds may not be rational in his.
Fair.
And so to him, he's probably sitting back and thinking to himself, yeah, I got rid of my best player, but boy, I got these picks. And I got these picks for this year. I got these picks for next year. And I'm going to turn this thing into so-and-so and so-and-so. Now, will that be true? Time will tell. Time will tell what that actually looks like. But on the George Pickens front, I'm not saying that the Cowboys are going to sign and trade him. I'm not saying that they won't sign and trade him. What I will say is,
sit on that fence.
No, what I will say is that I do think it's not a out of the world, out of this realm possibility. I want Jesse Holley, let me be clear. Jesse Holley would like to have George Pickens on this football team next year and for the years in the future. I'm a former wide receiver. I love the offensive side of the ball. I like to TBT to that thing, pat that thing, and throw it down the field all day long. But I'm also, in my other life, a businessman as well. And I know how sometimes in business, you do things to hopefully set yourself up long term. And what I think and believe business-wise, what Jerry thinks and believes business-wise, may not be what you guys think business-wise. So we'll see.
Can we take business out? Can we not even give that even any energy? Can we please? Because that's what it's been about business for the last 30 years, and business is booming. Can we take the idea that this is best for our business, best for our finances off the table? In a year in which two teams reached the Super Bowl, one team made the Super Bowl, won the Super Bowl after not making the playoffs the year before.
No, I agree. I get what
about
you're saying.
Now.
Yeah.
It's about now.
I get what you're
Everything
saying.
should be about now.
Yeah, for you, Clarence. It's now for you. They don't operate like to say it's about now. They haven't operated in 30 years with the now approach.
I know, and that's what I'm saying. That's why we got to change. Jerry told him, "I'm changing. I got to change." What change? I'm just saying, let's not give that business focus any energy, because it needs to be about now. And just getting back to how we started. Yes, they're going to tag him. We all knew they was going to tag him. It didn't need to be a storyline before the game that they're going to tag him, because it's a placeholder that they told us. We talked to Mulugeta. They haven't had any talk. Okay, so a tag is a placeholder to keep him off the market so they can negotiate exclusively for a long-term deal. That doesn't mean they're going to get a long-term deal. That doesn't mean he's going to play on the tag. But yes, Stevie Wonder could see that the Cowboys were going to tag him. Everybody knew in the world the Cowboys were going to tag him. And so the thing we're talking about, but again, as you guys talk about what the Cowboys are going to do, it's about winning now. It's not about, you talk about Dak's window. You know, and I post a tweet. You got next year's Super Bowl in Los Angeles, the following year is in Atlanta. I think the year after that it's in Vegas. This is the window for the Cowboys to win now. If they're ever going to win with Dak Prescott, it's now. And it's not about waiting for draft picks to develop in 2 or 3 years. They need to find what they're going to do. You know, you traded Mike, you got these picks. It's about winning now.
Yeah, and I think my gut is, well, I've never thought that Jerry doesn't want to win. But I've always watched how they operate and know that there are people who are willing to do more to try to win than you are. And I do think that the Micah Parsons trade makes him more motivated than maybe in your standard offseason. But there's also, like, the way that their coaching search has gone is different. They let the head coach do his job. And I think for most people, myself included, I love what they've done. And we'll see how it plays out. But I love that process. And it's different than what they do a lot of the times. So I like that. But if you really wanted to show me, no, I mean it. Different, I mean it. Then they wouldn't do what they always do. And we're about to hit it right now. George Pickens is going to be franchise tagged. If you're going to be different, that doesn't last long. And you sign him to a long-term deal so that, and I hate that we have to do this in sports, that if you're a big fan of a sport, you have to understand how the salary cap works. And you have to, a long-term contract, George Pickens will count $8 or $9 million against the cap this upcoming season, which allows you to go do more. Letting him hold a $28 million spot in a salary cap league throughout an offseason is the way they normally do things. So, like, the coaching search was different. Can you be different on this? Get him extended. Do what is best for building a team to win this year and next year. The best way to do that. And look, if he's not gonna get a long-term deal and you can tell that early, then you tag and trade him so that you have your money to operate and build the best team you can. And that's the part where I don't think Jerry's going to show me he's different. We're going to ride the George Pickens story through the whole offseason.
And I look at if they did so much stuff different in the coaching search, right? And they said, Shotty, you got it. Then that frees up more. That should have freed up more time for Jerry and Steven to operate in getting the deal done. And Clarence, I shouldn't say Clarence and I walked up on them as they're walking into the Radio Row event center. Literally, Clarence Hill and David Malugeta are walking shoulder to shoulder into the facility, and I'm talking about contracts. And he's like, hey, I've talked to nobody. Nobody's contacting me. Nobody's talked to me. So what are the Joneses doing with the free time? Because if Shotty's the one that is calling the shots in picking a defense and the Joneses are not involved, then what are they doing? That time could have been dedicated to picking up the phone and calling David and hashing out deals. So like while they may be showing you one thing, what are they doing in that time?
Yeah.
That time David Malugetta should not be walking and talking with Clarence saying, I ain't heard from them. I got other clients that I'm working on. I ain't heard a word. I haven't heard a word. I was standing right there. I haven't heard a word from them. Hey, I don't know. I ain't talked to them. I ain't talked to them. Nobody's contacted me. So
pick up the telly. Pick up the telly, Mr. Jones. Please, please. We just want to win a Super Bowl. That's all. Coming up next on the DLS Cowboys podcast, we're going to need your help in the chat here. You can take one player that just played in that Super Bowl and add him to the Dallas Cowboys. Who would it be? It's next. Oh, I got to find me a timer. Oh, 31:32. Let me write that down. I want to encourage you guys to sign up and be a diehard or the Supporters Club as well on YouTube. You can see the people in the chat that have the badge next to their name. That's somebody who has signed up to be a part of the Supporters Club. And we admit it is the true sicko level stuff. You know, you're signed up to be a diehard. You're also in the Supporters Club. And you do get a little bit of a hookup when you're in that Supporters Club. You do get exclusive emojis that you can use in the chat. You see the little pop emoji. That might be my favorite. I like Bing Bong too, though. We could probably get rid of the brow one. I think that one might have run its course. We could probably swap that out for something else. We'll get that figured out for you guys. But yeah, we appreciate everybody who supports the show. We appreciate the heck out of you guys. Smash the like button while you're here. Get up in the Supporters Club. And then each week we find some sort of content that is for our Supporters Club folks only, which means I believe the Supporters Club folks were the only ones who got to see Jeff after having a few in his first Waymo. I think that's what we used for our Supporters Club content. So congratulations to you guys. You got to see me after 2 fireballs, 7 Miller Lights, hop into a car without a driver with my drunk buddy Jimmy, who I think took over the video because he just wanted to praise Waymo because he's going to work for Google and they own Waymo. And so that's how that went. But anyway, you want to get that badge. You want to get that badge next to your name. You want to get those emojis. You want to get you some exclusive content. It's all available for you if you sign up to be a part of our YouTube Supporters Club. So please do. We sure do appreciate it. You see some of these folks in the chat, they got it on right there. And I don't appreciate all the talk about my forehead. Is this not a normal forehead? Is it a normal forehead? Anyway, sign up for the Supporters Club because if you don't, I will hunt you down and give you a hug with consent. So
they're sitting out the forehead talk.
I was watching the clock, Clarence, and we're back on the show now. It's the DLS Cowboys podcast. And yes, it has been a lot of forehead talk in the chat today. And I don't know. I didn't know that my forehead was unusual, but it sounds like the people in the chat think that my forehead is unusual.
Jimmy Neutron.
Is that somebody with a big forehead?
Yeah, oh my God. You never seen Jimmy Neutron?
I don't know. Maybe. Oh, looks like John's popping himself up on the screen for
Hold
something.
on. Next break, I'll get a side by side of Jeff and Jimmy Neutron. Neutron. I'm surprised Clarence knows about Jimmy Neutron. That's my.
What's coming out of your nose, man? Come on, man. We're in front of company, man. We're in front of company, man.
Oh, and can you ask that question again, and everyone else be quiet while he asks it?
Coming out of your nose, man.
Thank you. That'd be a tissue, Clarence.
Goodness,
that's all we needed. All right, it is a Magic Marker Monday. The question on the table for you in the chat, if you could take somebody from the Seahawks or the Patriots and put them on this team.
No, just the Seahawks. Just the Seahawks. Just the winning team.
Oh, only winners?
Just the winning team. We only
winners.
Only winners. Well, just the Seahawks.
The guy I picked was from the winners anyway, so I would have been safe. Obviously, my pick is Sam Darnold because all we got to do is upgrade at quarterback, and we could really get this thing done. This is my answer right here. Let's see if you can see it. Can you see that?
Yeah, Devin Witherspoon.
Yeah, I mean, you look at this Cowboys team, and boy, what a difference a lockdown stud corner would make. And I don't just want to point out, hey, I would take one of the best cornerbacks in the league. I also want to point out that from a Cowboys perspective, I think there's something to be learned here. Devin Witherspoon is 5'11", 180 pounds. That's how big he is. And so I just want to make sure that, because this was a big Dan Quinn thing and maybe just a big Cowboy thing, like we will talk about with pass rushers, we'll talk about arm length. With cornerbacks, we'll talk about height and arm length. But at some point, if you're turning on the tape and watching, Devin Witherspoon was my number one corner in his draft class because you watch him play football. And my goodness, can cover whoever and straight dog. He has no idea he's 180 pounds. He may actually know it, but it does not make him think that somebody's that's 225 pounds can't get this smoke. Devin Witherspoon is like, that is just, and he was the same way at Illinois. I believe it was Illinois. You just watch him play and you go, oh, let's check the boxes. He's a cornerback. What do I want him to do? Cover. Oh, he's tough to separate from. Whoa, look at them feet. Boy, he can run too. Oh, wow, he'll just hit whoever. He has no idea that he's a tiny man. Checks all of the I'm watching you play football on tape boxes. So if a guy's arms aren't the perfect length, if he's not 6'1", 6'2", that's okay. Get you a baller. And that's Witherspoon.
So for me, I'm opposite of you, Jeff.
What you doing?
No, I'm opposite of you in the sense of
you want Emin Warrior. You want the guy who runs a 4.3 that's 6'2". Yeah. And you know what? He's great too.
And the reason why I'm going to go with Nick Annuware, did I say that right?
Emin Warrior.
You're
doing great.
The reason I go there is because, and Jeff, you were the one who mentioned this before they hired Christian Parker. And then to hear Christian Parker talk about it we're talking about trends and we're talking about waves and how the league is moving from one thing to the next. And having that slot corner at 6'2", 6'3", 220 pounds, a guy like Nick Emmanuel, he can play the slot. He can guard tight ends. He can play that outside linebacker spot. He can guard receivers. I mean, this is a guy who can do it all for you. And that slot corner, I don't think you're ever not going to need and demand and require a shutdown outside corner. But that slot corner position is going to play so much dividends. They are looking Hall of Fame nod right here to the Hall of Famers. They're looking for the 2026 version of Darren Woodson. They're looking for the guy who did this 30 years ago.
Yeah.
A guy who can play safety, can come down and cover the tight ends, running back, slots, also play linebacker when you need him to. That gives your defense so much flexibility, so much ability to do so many different things. I can blitz from there. I can now send Witherspoon and then have Nick shoot out there to play that particular spot. It does so much for your defense. It allows your defensive coordinator to get deep into his Louis, deep into his Gucci, deep into his Goyard, deep into his whatever whatever bag that he needs to get into. Target. He gets deep into that bag with the way that you have a guy like Nick that'll be able to play everywhere on your defense, and he has the size, the ability, and he has the mental toughness to do so. So I want a guy like that on my football team that got dog, that has the physical size of 6'2", 6'3", 220, 225 pounds, that is willing to come downhill, can cover, can do everything for you to allow my defensive coordinator to be a wizard.
That's good. Jesse, you and I did a great job. We did a great job. Now, here's the other thing. I think we also had the two easiest answers. So, Chill, if you come up with somebody different, you're going to be wrong. So go ahead.
Just know that Jesse had money, has been adjacent to money because he went from Gucci to Louis to Goyard. What's a Goyard? What's the Goyard? I mean, he got that kind of money.
If you got to ask, you can't afford
it. He got money adjacent to money. He could have just said a bag. You brought up Target. I shop at Ross.
I like Ross dress for less.
Can we? What about John Snyder?
Oh,
Okay,
you're trying to
I
take a
see what you did
GM?
there.
Can I
see
take
what
the
you did there.
GM? You know, the GM, you guys bring up these safeties and corners, and they drafted Tyreek Weatherspoon, a great rookie year, new from Fort Worth, not Weatherspoon, Tyreek Woolen,
Woolen.
out of UTSA, drafted him in the first round, come back the next year, we taking your boy from Illinois, another corner, first round. Then next year we're taking a slot corner, at top. The GM was cooking. The GM was cooking. He didn't mind double dipping and going back. I want to take Christian Gonzalez because the Cowboys need that long corner Christian Gonzalez. That's what we want. But he's on the losing team, even though he got some MVP votes because he may have been the best defensive player on the field on Sunday.
He's very good. He's very good. He's a pathetic loser, so you can't pick him.
May have been the best defensive player on the field. But yes, I'm going to go with D-Law. 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 We should have had D-Law because if D-Law was here, he wouldn't be in Seattle. And Seattle wouldn't be in the Super Bowl. If D-Law was here, okay? No, they wouldn't. D-Law brought that thing together. He was the missing piece to that Super Bowl. He was like DeMarcus Ware when Denver needed that missing piece, that father figure, that leader to come in and get him over the top. Man. They wouldn't be there without D-Law. And the Cowboys may have very well been the playoffs. They had D-Law in this locker room. If you're going to get rid of Michael Parsons, you don't let D-Law go.
Clarence, I thought we had to
get rid of Michael Parsons, you don't let D-Law go. You cannot tell me you let D-Law go already with plans to get rid of Michael Parsons.
Look, well, that's obvious that they did not plan to get rid of Michael Parsons. Don't let them tell you that. But I thought we had a chance today. People thought we'd been getting a little messy. And I thought today our messiness was very reasonable. But then you just opened a whole jar of mess for no reason.
We hadn't talked about D-Law yet. That's my guy. That's our guy.
I'm happy for D-Law, and I think that's okay. You're allowed to be a Cowboy fan, and the guys that were here for a long time that did it the right way, that busted their ass for you, you're allowed to be happy when they win a Super Bowl. I'm happy that DeMarcus Ware won a Super Bowl. I'm happy for Tank Lawrence. I'm happy for Aiden Durday. Good for those guys. I think they deserve it. And shout out to the shout out.
Okay.
I want to shout out D-Law for sidestepping the messy. Because they tried to get him after the game, where it was like, I know he did it with Scott Van Pelt and I think somewhere else, where it was like, yeah, and, congratulations. Plus, you did say before the season, and they tried to get him to go after Dallas. And he was like, oh, right now I'm just grateful for where I am. And I'm not trying to do that. So unlike Clarence, Tank Lawrence was willing to avoid the mess and just be grateful for winning the Super Bowl.
Weird stat that I saw. I don't know who sent it to me on Twitter. I'll sorry if I don't want to give you credit for it, but they said this is the second DeMarcus to leave the Cowboys, go to a different team, and win a Super Bowl that next year. And they both did it in San Francisco. D. Ware did it 10 years ago. D. Law did it yesterday.
They both did it in Santa Clara. I do thoroughly enjoy that they show the Golden Gate Bridge, and I'm like, congrats, you sent a camera really far from the stadium to show a different city. like in DFW, I think Arlington's closer to Dallas than Santa Clara is to San Francisco, right? They send a drone with some really good range to be like, and here's the Golden Gate Bridge. That's not where we are, but isn't it pretty? And that's always funny to me. I thoroughly enjoy it. Let's knock out these super chats. I know we had Cody earlier. He said, Jerry said no more GP recruitment with that tag. That's why that story never made sense to me. Like, there is no recruiting that's going to be done by players that would ever matter. They're not letting him hit free agency. They were never going to let him hit free agency. And Barrington's in the super chat. He said, why is Chill Stream faded? My man Stream looks like all my life I had to fight. Best reporter in the game. Love you, boy.
You got that color purple screen. You got that color purple screen right there. All my life I had to fight. I
would buy you a $70 or $80 Logitech for the house, Chill, just a little camera. I would do that. But you lost the AirPods I got you. So I'm not getting
They're two different things. AirPods fall out of your ears. Logitech just put that right there. Not even the same.
Coming up next, let's do a little donging around the NFL draft because it's what makes me happy. And there is some recent development that means maybe the Cowboys could have somebody we didn't think they could have. That's next. All right, that is me and Jimmy Neutron, it looks like. So that's Jimmy Neutron. His forehead, that is a lot of – well, he's got a lot of room between eye and eyebrow. That's crazy. You got better
likeness. That's a likeness. That's a likeness. That's pretty close there. That's pretty close, Jeff. Eyebrow, pretty close.
I'm not a very good-looking person. Kind of ugly.
Somebody we had to get the Jeep from Jersey to put a beard on Jimmy Neutron. I think we got a hit.
That'd be nice. All right. We want you to sign up to be a Diehard. We got a hookup going on for you right now. 60% off our Diehard membership. You still get the free t-shirt when you sign up. Normally this is an $80 thing. We're taking 60% off of it. But you're going to want to hurry up and do that because this offer is about to go away. So take advantage of it. Also, because it is NFL draft season, it's a great time to get signed up to be a Diehard because the great Fran Duffy, who works for the same company as we do up there in Philly, he does the draft year round. So he has his rankings, his scouting reports. You can sort it by different positions, and all that good stuff is available for you if you're signed up to be a Diehard. So go ahead and take advantage of that. Get you 60% off of that. And then when you get your free t-shirt, maybe you get to stay shiesty. We got to get one to George. I'm sorry. Mistakes were made. Forgot to bring it to Radio Row. Didn't realize that George was going to be 12 feet behind us. He did wave at us, though, when I did this.
I had that shirt in my bag all week long, and then I took it out the morning that we went back to Radio Row to pack it in my bag.
Mistakes were made. We tried our best, but we didn't get the package to the person, and that happens sometimes. But regardless of that, sign up to be a Diehard because if you don't, I will hunt you down and ask for a handshake with consent. If I don't get consent, no handshake. Do it or else. It is the DLS Cowboys podcast, and I don't know if you guys know this about me. For about 12 years or so, I've been doing the tape on the NFL draft. The great Brian Broaddus was crazy enough to just let me hang out with him and show me the ways and watch film. And so, like, watching the college players, ranking the college players, it's something that I thoroughly enjoy every offseason.
Well, you were the first, though, right? You were the first that when Broaddus started kind of branching out and doing it outside of himself. Were you like the?
It was me and KT.
Okay.
Yeah, so we were out there grinding tape, eating way too much candy, stealing cherry Coke from the Joneses. I was on it. I was tearing it up out there. And so I like to talk about the draft. And so whenever we do, until I come up with a better name, I'm going to call it Donging Around the NFL Draft. And so there's something that happened over the last, these both happened last week and didn't really get to it because we were at the Super Bowl. We just had a lot of stuff going on and a lot of things to play. But there's a name that I think is one of the best players in this draft. It didn't seem real likely when you just look around at the people who you think know what they're doing and they make their little mock drafts. You're like, okay, I guess I probably can't have that guy. But we just talked about Nick Emenwari, and this guy ain't 6'2", 6'3". But if you want a guy who's a safety, but he's a corner, but he plays the nickel, but he blitzes, but he covers your tight end, and then he covers your slot receiver, I'd like to reintroduce Caleb Downs, the Ohio State safety, who is one of my favorite players in this draft class. And there I just put a few words in there so that we would have a graphic. Because I think, to me, one of the greatest compliments that I can give to a player, the first thing that I wrote in my notes was, man, he makes this look really easy. Like, just sees the game instinctually, knows what the quarterback wants to do. And honestly, a lot of times quarterbacks just don't bother trying to mess with him. And up until last week, I don't think I'd seen a single mock draft where Caleb Downs was available for the Dallas Cowboys. But now I want to present two of them to you that happened last week. One's my buddy Trevor Sikkema over at Pro Football Focus. And so he has his little mock draft, and you cruise on down to number 12, and it's Caleb Downs, Ohio State. And here's the words he wrote. It might seem crazy for Downs to slide outside the top 10, but from talking with people around the industry at the Senior Bowl, it appears his range is truly anywhere in the top 20. If he makes it to 12, I have no doubt the Cowboys will be interested. And then he starts talking about Pro Football Focus grading, which I'm not worried about. Then Lance Zierlein at NFL.com does him a little mock draft. And he doesn't say anything about this being a fall or anything. He just does his mock draft. And right there at number 12, Caleb Downs, Ohio State, safety. And he says, besides being a menace in the box and as an overhang nickel, Downs is a culture piece, which Dallas desperately could use on defense. So I just wanted to share the good word with you guys that after, whether it's visiting with people and actually hearing that some teams aren't as high on him, or whether it's just that safety is still viewed as a non-premium position. And if I can find a guy that's a pass rusher or an offensive tackle or a wide receiver or a corner, I'm getting more value for that player if he hits. Don't write off the possibility. Don't write off the possibility that you could have your next sort of Darren Woodson type player to plug into the Cowboys secondary. So today's a day of celebration. And I just wanted to share the good word with you guys.
I love it. I love it. I mean, literally the segment before, and I heard you say it in the background was, I picked Nick Emmanuel, and this sounds very reminiscent and similar to that player. 6 foot, 200 pounds, safety, can play nickel, can come. I mean, I've watched Caleb Downs play. He's not afraid of coming down in that box and laying the pads.
He might need to chill out a little bit.
Right, like
if we're being honest.
He has no problem doing that. And you talk about the culture piece is bringing guys in here, especially defensively. I think offensively, there's a culture that is set because you have one of the greatest leaders in the game currently in Dak Prescott. But defensively, bringing a guy who comes from a winning culture, who is a dog of a player, bringing him in. And again, I love the versatility. That is the key. That's going to be my word of this offseason. Versatility. Are we bringing players in that are dogs and have versatility? That's how you get great defenses. You get a level of versatility through the guys that you're putting on the football field. And if Caleb Downs is there, even though you've kind of got me a little bit excited and I was a little bit gushing in San Francisco when I got to see my football man crush, Fred Warner, and you're saying Stunny Styles is reminiscent to that. Yeah. But I will take Caleb Downs. If I can't get Fred Warner Jr., then give me Caleb Downs to play that versatile role the Cowboys have a need for. There is a need there.
Go ahead.
Caleb Downs or Stunny Styles? Which one you want?
Oh, don't do that to me.
Why?
Don't do that to me. Well, I guess
what you doing the drive?
I have to be true to the board. Hold on. Let me pull up my rankings because I have them stacked. I would pick Caleb Downs.
Over Stunny Styles. Over Fred Warner.
Yeah, but you want to hear the dirty little secret?
Oh, the dirty one.
That's player number 1 and player number 2. According to me. So I'm tap dancing either way. And I know for a lot of people, this has to be tough. If you've followed my draft stuff, because I do believe I am a position value guy. I do believe it. But picking at 12, I think they're the 2 best prospects in the draft. Then my position value doesn't mean I'm going to take the 17th best player, or I guess at 12 you wouldn't be that low. But I'm not taking the 11th best player over the best or second best player, because I just think it's that sort of year where you don't have the dominant, clean prospects at the premium positions. So I have to go take the dominant, clean prospects at a position that's less important. But boy, the Cowboys need it. And for Downs, it may not be less important. We're in a world where
what you mean by clean? James Pierce clean or cleaner than that?
When I say clean, I mean, I guess you could throw off field in that, but what I mean is the guys at the premium spots. Let's take corner. Mansour Delane had an awesome year at LSU. Like him a lot. Jermod McCoy has great tape from 2 years ago at Tennessee, but he's coming off an ACL. We haven't seen him play football in a year. Delane might not test like a premier athlete, might not measure as big or as long as you dream of in a corner. So it's not Christian Gonzalez for the Patriots. Clean, good tape, wonderful athlete, all the size thresholds, boom, clean. And so in this one, like Reuben Bain, weird build for an edge defender. People are going to worry about the short arms. Probably won't test like a great athlete. The tape is awesome, but it's not clean where you check every box. Caleb Downs checks every box. Sonny Styles checks almost every box. You don't see a ton of coverage stuff on tape from him. I'm projecting his coverage based on I have seen him do it, and it looks really good, but there's not a ton of it. But that it's 6'4", 240, runs a 4.4, 4.5. Like, that's clean. I feel really good about the transition from college to NFL. And it's just not necessarily that way with the guys at premium spots. And so that's what NFL teams are going to go through is how do I feel about look, I'd love to be picking a $40 million player with my first pick. And that's not possible if I pick Caleb Downs or Jeremiah Love, the Notre Dame running back, or Sonny Styles. I'm picking a $17 million player that's going to make however much the pick at that spot makes. So the value's not as good. I don't want to miss. This team can't miss. You can't. Because that could be the biggest takeaway from watching the Super Bowl is let's look at the drafts the last few years of the teams that just played in it. Like you mentioned Witherspoon and Emanwari in Seattle. They're nailing it. They're nailing it with their guys. And so, yeah, we got to get it. We got to get it right. That's what we got to do. We got to get everything right.
Yeah, one day I would like us to do a whole show on culture. Because what does culture mean? I mean, we all talk about he's a good for the culture. He's a good culture piece. He's a good culture piece because he's the number one prospect in your draft, too. He's the number one prospect on your board. That helps.
I think for the most part, we assign culture after the fact. Like the idea that the 90s Cowboys had incredible culture, they had the best players. I don't think we could look back at the team as a whole and be like, you tell you what, that culture now. Although maybe it was, because if culture is your best players also being your hardest workers, like I think there's something there. I take it back to in the college football playoff, every time I watch Miami play, there's absolutely a culture on that defense. If you're not a psycho and you are not willing to take on a block full speed and you are not willing to run the alley and smoke somebody, you would stick out like a sore thumb. You have to become that player or you can't play on that team.
And that's what those 90s teams were. Those dudes, you ask any of those dudes, they talked about how high level practice was. It was a competition every single day. You know, you've heard stories where coach will go tell Mike, hey, go start a fight. Practice is a little dead. Go start a fight. So we can get like they were all about going and competing every single day. That is a culture piece and how you get better. Competition gets you better.
Yeah.
And that's one reason why the Cowboys didn't draft Randy Moss because of that culture, because they got tired of that culture. I'm saying it can go both ways. And what you're saying about the Miami defense, that should be everybody's practice. That should be everybody as the defensive player. The definition of defensive player is go smoke somebody. Go do your job. Go smoke somebody. That shouldn't be a Miami thing, a Miami culture thing. Every head coach, every defense coordinator wants that on their defense on every team across the country.
Yeah. No, I know they do, but it doesn't mean you get that. Like a lot of corners don't play football that way. If you play at Miami and you're not hitting, you won't play. Their nickel corner is the biggest psycho on that team. That's the way they do things. Dan is in the super chat. Look, I've been a member for 5 months too. We appreciate you, Dan Myers. He said, are you guys doing a live stream during the first round? Absolutely, positively. Nothing makes me happier than draft stuff. We will be on during the first round, and I'm hoping we can find a way to get picks because I'm pretty sure we're going to be on during every round because we love us some NFL drafts around these parts. And then, okay, Jimmy Neutron with a beard. Now that's me. Is that me?
That's it. Nailed it. Nailed it. Go find you some Latinos, you and Jimmy. Go rescue some Latinos.
Thanks for stopping by, everybody. Sorry about the foreheads on. Why is it about my forehead? Look at the foreheads I'm working with.
Listen, don't bring us in it. It's on
Remember,
you.
you have no idea what anyone's going through. Be cool to everybody. We love you. Be easy.
Eliminate the contingencies.